Okay, well, welcome to tonight's call for the Young Entrepreneur Syndicate. Been a while since I felt like I led a call, and this one's going to be sweet and to the point. It seems like everybody's taking advantage of spring being in the air. So got a number of texts of people saying that they're just not going to make it. So that is no problem. That is why we record and lives in posterity there. So tonight's message was pretty simple. Help everyone. Rod, thanks for that. Again, Rod is in charge of picking the topics that allows us to talk about something. And because we have a pretty light crowd on tonight, I will put Heidi, Jim, and Anthony on the spot a little bit. And what that will be thinking about ways that we can help you in your business and have a question or way we can help tonight. All right, so dig a little bit deeper. Anthony, I know I spoke to you earlier today, but think about how we can help you with something by asking that question tonight. Give us some homework. Riley misses out because she wasn't here to hear me say that. So if we get to her, we'll fill her in. So I love the philosophy of helping people. I don't know if we can go as far as helping everyone, but I think when we have a heart of giving or helping, not only does it make us better, but it makes, really society better. It makes the example we set better. It allows us to be better in everything that we do by helping others. And what I've found is having a heart of helping has returned huge dividends in a number of ways, and not just, maybe picking up a new client or making a new friend, but huge dividends in my heart and soul, knowing that I'm a better person for being able to help. And oftentimes, the help that I've been willing to give has been to the detriment of maybe some financial gain, but going back to, that filling my soul and making me feel better about the person that I am is a far much greater gain than money. And so helping others, it takes practice. It takes practice on a consistent basis so that you become that type of person. And at some point, you'll look back and go, wow, I've been helping a lot of people through a lot of things, and I'm proud of that. And sometimes it's exercising that muscle to get into that habit and to do it naturally instead of forced. So what I want to do is encourage people to become that type of person that you're willing to help on such a regular basis that it becomes naturally instead of forced. But it might take a little bit of discipline to get there, right? So some quick things that I pulled off, they're catchwords, but what happens or what you get from helping others, it fosters empathy, compassion, cooperation, and the reality is, I already touched this, is really it's crucial for the well-being of everyone, right? And it can lead to personal fulfillment and a sense of purpose. I've been living that life solidly for the last 10 years plus since Samantha and I have been together. And part of my consulting business, whenever I land a new client, is always about giving a percentage of that first month's fees to a charity of choice. And I've talked about it before, how doing that has gained me long-term clients or customers because of that give back philosophy. Samantha and I started a wine import business that donates back to orphanages, and as I mentioned earlier, these things now they come naturally after the practice of doing it. So I would implore you to find ways in your own business or in your own lives on ways to help other people and grow your business around that service side of support. So, it's not like this is a long drawn out business lesson. The fact is it's as simple as it gets. And oftentimes we look for, that magic phrase or that magic, secret of how to run and be successful. Sometimes it's the most basic of things that will bring that success. I like to tell the story of Landry's restaurant group. They have over 600 restaurants in the United States, some of the most popular chain restaurants, privately owned by Tillman Fertitta. If you know him, he had a TV show, Billionaire Next Door, something like that, Billionaire Boss. anyways, when I landed that account, it was simply by just saying what I was going to do and then following through with that. And most of my competitors never understood how I landed the account. And they would ask me, Jim, what was your secret? And I would just tell them, like, following through with my word. Right. And although that doesn't have anything to do with giving back or helping everyone, the point is oftentimes you land those biggest accounts, you find the most success in the simplest of instructions, whether that's following through on what you say you're going to do or simply helping others along the way. That's how you're going to find success in your own business. So, Rod, do you want to touch on that for a minute?
Yeah, I'll weigh in. There are a couple things. I'll do the business part first, and then the personal part second. First, helping everyone, and I've mentioned this before in network marketing. You know, those of you who are familiar with multi-level marketing, affiliate marketing, network marketing, building a pyramid, right? For the old school people, yeah, it's a legitimate business, but I've watched a lot of people go in and burn out and just burn through because they're going through their contact list, and it's what they can get from it, as opposed to contacting people to say, what can I do to help you? You know, is there a fit here that will help you? And my success was really built around that, helping other people be successful. It wasn't about what I could do to get my numbers up and get my volume up and that sort of thing. When I focused on other people, it opened everything up, and it happened quickly. And I duplicated that, which is where my success came from. I taught other people how to help other people. And it was a very good career, but those were the lessons that were learned, you know, on the business end of it. If you help, taking that over and looking through all my careers, I can tell you that the best leaders in organizations, whether they were military organizations or you know, any sort of corporate hierarchy, the best leaders were the ones who were always helping other people. They weren't the ones sitting back dictating and, you know, running the whip, and, you know, the beatings will continue until morale improves. You know, we all know those kind of bosses, but they were the ones that always were willing to help. They were willing to get in there into the mix and help solve problems. And so if you really want to be successful, you've got to get into that help everyone. No one is, you're not above helping any particular person. And now Taylor's going to jump here on the call, and there's something I actually learned from my son-in-law, Taylor's husband. And we were driving. He was driving. We were going somewhere. I can't even remember where. And this was many years ago. I don't even know if he was a father at the time. So that gives you an idea. Maybe 10 years ago. But Spencer has always been a helpful person, and he's in law enforcement. And so, you know, his job is to go out on call. Somebody needs help, right? Who do you call? 911. They send a sheriff. But we were on a drive, and somebody's car had stalled, and it was off the side of the road. And typically, if somebody's off the side of the road, I usually just don't pay any attention, because it's like, well, they're off the side of the road. Everyone has a cell phone. I'm sure they're calling, you know, a spouse, a friend, AAA, you know, something. I'm assuming it's okay. Spencer turns around. He went 4 blocks out of our way to come back around. It was up by the hospital, those of you who know the valley here. So we had to go way out of the way to come back around to offer help. And that person did need help. And I can't even remember what it was, but it was somebody who said, let's do this. Let's stop what we're doing and go help somebody. Just make sure they're okay. And so it's not enough to assume, like I did, that they've got a phone, they've probably got help on the way. They didn't have what they needed. And so don't take it for granted. Now, taking that one step further, that little incident left enough of an impression on me. It was probably a year, maybe a year and a half later. I'm driving down the road, and a car stalled at a very busy intersection. Those of you in the valley, Highway 2 and 93. Imagine being in the main flow of traffic and your car is dead at that intersection. And it was a younger woman, and she was driving a Hyundai Santa Fe. It was, you know, a vehicle I was familiar with. She's dead in the intersection, and she's lost all power. And those of you who don't know, if you're in an automatic transmission and you've lost all power, You don't have the ability to put your car from park into neutral or from drive to neutral. There's a lockout switch on an automatic transmission. There were like 5 guys that had jumped out of their cars and trucks to try and push her car out of the way. And nobody knew how to get that car moving because it was stuck in drive. It just died right there. Well, I happen to know. And there was a screwdriver in my car. I got a screwdriver out, pulled off a little trouble door, pushed straight down on it, put the car in neutral, and we pushed the car off. That lady would, I can't imagine the stress level because I know what it's like when you're holding traffic up for any reason. But stopping to help, and it was because I learned that lesson from someone else. You can't be too busy to help. And so those are my 2 first inputs there. You know, the business part of it, it will pay you back. If you implement that and think about it often in everything you do, it will, even if it doesn't pay you dividends, it will pay you rewards. And there may be differences. So always be on the lookout for someone who might need your help because maybe no one else can. And that's why when someone drops down and they're having a heart attack or some sort of an event, somebody has to take charge and say, you call 911. You go get the AED. You do this. Somebody has to take a leadership role to say, let's get the help rolling. So let that person be you. You be the one to say, I'm calling 911. You do this, whatever it happens to be. So I'll leave it at that.
Thanks, Rod. So this is why, and I appreciate those stories. This is why it's important. I'm going to read a quote out of David Meltzer's book, Authors Unknown, on the quote, but this is the point that I was hoping to make, and Rod is reaffirming that with his stories. Here's a quote: watch your thoughts, they become words. Watch your words, they become actions. Watch your actions, they become habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. And watch your character because it becomes your destiny, right? So the soft skills in business are about developing habits to find success and happiness in what you're doing. So if you can develop the habit of helping everyone, you're developing habits that build that character that people will not only want to do business with, but yet you'll find more business. And what you'll find is in your own businesses that you're going to find ways that you can help people beyond the scope of work that you were hired to do or the scope of work that you offer. And that's where you solidify the relationship, the longevity, the referrals, and the opportunities. Wayne's on the, by the way, so Wayne, Taylor, Riley, you all came on a little bit late, but in the spirit of helping others, I want you each to come up with one thing we can help you with, Rod and I and Rachel, whether that's tonight on the call or in a text or email, but you guys need to come up with something that we can help you with. So if you look at your businesses, and I'll use Wayne as an example, Wayne has a pool cleaning business, okay? But maybe he's in somebody's backyard and, the homeowner, maybe they're elderly and they're like, gosh, I wish I knew somebody that could cut the limbs off of that tree there because it's creating a problem. And Wayne says, hey, I got a ladder in the back, probably has something to cut it with. He goes and cuts it. All of a sudden, his habit of becoming helpful because he's used to being willing to help has opened up the relationship a step further, but has nothing to do with his business. And I'm sure everybody here could think about something or an opportunity that they've either offered to help more, do more, or could have done more, and maybe you regret that you didn't. I know I have both sides of that, where I wish I would have offered a little bit more, or I have offered stuff. So building and enhancing your soft skills is critical for the longevity of your business in the long run. So it's a great soft skill to learn, and that's helping everyone. So, all right. That's going to close the topic. I'm going to come to Anthony first and buy a little time for the rest of you. Anthony, how can we help you outside of some of the support we've given in the last couple of days with you, but how can we help you, or what's something that you need help with?
Well,
Yeah, take
I
yourself
really
off mute, by the way.
I appreciate all of your help, Jim, so far, and Rod as well. I think that the biggest thing you guys can help me with is really just narrowing my focus. I tend to, because I'm pretty young compared to everyone else here, but I always kind of tried to reach the next thing and reach the next thing. And really, Jim has always told me to take a step back and just, if you know that something works, well, then do it 5 more times, do it 10 more times. And really, I think it's just, keeping that going and keeping my focus, because I like to kind of veer off and try new things, probably because I'm young and it's all new to me, really. But if I know something works, I need to just keep doing it and keep doing it, because that is really what has compounded my business the most. Is like I didn't pass out 1,000 flyers door to door. I didn't pass out 2,000. I passed out 40,000 door to door, and that's what made the difference in my business, really.
Yeah. Okay. So real quick, Anthony, tell us where your business is at, what city and state, and what your business is, your elevator speech briefly.
So I'm from Naperville, Illinois. It's about 40 minutes outside of Chicago. I fix lawnmowers, snow blowers, and tractors. I come right to your house. It's super convenient. You don't even have to be home. You could be at work. Doesn't matter. And I fix everything on site, make it super easy for the customers, and I've found great success in it.
Okay. So now everybody knows what you do, where you're at. So if anybody on this call, either tonight or in recording, you know that somebody needs those services. Now you know where Anthony's at. So there's one way we can help Anthony. Anthony, the second way that I'm going to offer to you is that Rod and I, we will hold you accountable to keep that focus narrowed, right? We've already had some conversations there. So we're going to continue those conversations to keep your focus. And what those discussions have been is understanding what your values are, what you align with, what your goals are based on that, and then being patient with your goals and objectives. All right. So you got us on the hook for that help. Rod, I hope you wrote that down. We're going to hold them accountable. Okay,
I
Heidi.
did. Hold on before you jump to Heidi. I did write it down, and I've got one more thing for you, because you may have missed this on a previous call. And being young and bouncing all over the place and wanting to narrow your focus, yes, it's important, but it's also important to have that blue sky in you, to be looking for new opportunities. So what I encourage you to do is just write it down so it doesn't die, and have a folder of those ideas that you want to pursue later on. Right. So then once it's written down, you put it away, you deal with it, and now you're back to your focus. Okay. Don't let it die.
Thank
Perfect. All right, Heidi, how can we help you either tonight or outside of the call?
Well, let's see. First of all, Rod, I really like the color of your shirt.
Yeah. All right. He's on mute. So
Who's on mute? Okay. No, I just want to say thank you for the topic. This is very tried and true and tested. Any program of recovery, they say the way that you get out of your depression or get outside of yourself is to be of service. And that is something that I've employed now for over 7.5 years, and then have been able to be part of that with the community and coaching my husband and my children as well. So it is absolutely awesome. So I implemented that a lot already in my company and what I'm doing. And as I grow to go from being this one-on-one business model to an online wellness company, I believe I have an idea that my first couple hundred of clients that I've had in the last couple of years, I think that what I could do to be of more service to them is to give back to them by letting them be part of what I'm creating online for maybe a couple months, as like the testers for maybe some free membership.
yeah.
And give that back to them. And then with that, they can give me some feedback, as well as then they can continue to be members.
That's right.
So that's one of the ideas that I have. I possibly could go a little bit farther in this area in the next couple of weeks with letting the community have maybe some discounted in-body scans, or possibly free, before I leave the area, or I just continue on. So that's where I'm at.
Love it. Love it. Within that, is there something that we can be helpful with?
I'm working with Rachel, so we're locked in solid, and we are on it. We are on fire. We are making huge waves.
Okay, I love that. I'm glad that you're working together. Thank you for that. Real quick, your elevator speech, where you're at and where people can send customers your way.
Fierce Grace Wellness is a health and wellness company that helps you in to be the best version of yourself. It is your one-stop shop for your health and well-being needs, mind, body, and soul.
Okay.
located throughout the world.
Okay, throw your website up in the chat so we all have it.
Okay.
Okay, if you haven't noticed, I'm working my way down. Jim Spilson. I know you're not on video, but if you don't mind unmuting and telling us how we can help you. All right, going. Jim Spilson. Okay, let's move to Riley. We'll come back to Jim if he pops on. Riley, how can we help you with what you're doing?
Well, right now I already gave you my marching orders, Jim. So I think that I need help procuring a deal with another local business to get some materials. I think that's the only thing I can think of right now.
Well, why don't you tell us what you're working on? Can you share
Okay.
that or not?
Yeah, I can share it.
Why don't you tell us what you're working on and,
Okay.
and what the business is going to be, and then allow everybody to get their motors running because maybe somebody else can offer some help in a way that we're not aware of.
Okay. So I am working on building out a mobile boutique. So I bought a 35-foot like full-size school bus, and I am renovating it and to be a mobile boutique. And so my brother-in-law and I are working on renovating it. And there's some materials that I need that another business has that I'm hoping that Jim can help me make a deal with them with that. And yeah, I'm just building that out, trying to figure out what all my retail is going to be and my exact like aesthetic and my niche and all that jazz. So yeah.
Well, you said a boutique. What type of boutique so that people really get an idea?
Yeah, so like women's clothing, accessories, and like gifts and jewelry. And it definitely is going to have kind of a eclectic vibe. So, I mean, the best way I can describe it that I can think of is like it's totally going to be like witchy biker chick. But yeah, that's about it.
Perfect. Okay. For a future date, if you've got websites or anything you want to drive traffic to with this group, please share that with everyone in the chat. That way we know what you're up to. You've got a question there from Anthony that you can respond to. And in the meantime, I'm going to go to Jim. I think he's ready for us now. So Jim, unmute. You don't have to turn your video on if you don't have that, but please let us know how we can help you.
Yeah, thanks for waiting on my technical difficulties here. Right now, I think like the last couple of months has been extremely, everyone's busy, but it's just there's been a lot going on, and to add insult to injury, we just picked up a puppy last night, which we were kind of planning for, but not really. We're doing college visits. There's just a lot of stuff going on. And I find myself at the end of the day and at the end of the weeks where the weeks are passing by and I'm not spending that focus time. I know we said on this call, a lot of times before, 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, those 5 minutes add up. And I'm not even doing those to keep other things going. Work itself has picked up. But it's the extras that I'm trying to get things done, trying to get other opportunities and movement. And I don't know if it's accountability, if it's focus. It's probably a combination of a lot of those to stay on track and spend that time to get the other things done in between, the 18 other things pulling on my time right now.
Yeah, it's tough to drive. Is there anything that you buy or sell that we should all be aware of that we can look into or refer people in your current business or where you're going?
As we've talked about this before, I did the Kush Cube for a while, but found that market was extremely difficult. I did switch over, and I think I did mention this before, to a Kava product, which I like so much better, aligns a little bit more with my values. It's not, a regulated substance. A lot of the industry right now is looking at that in the kind of the anti-anxiety, the anti-stress, the calming, the relaxing type of supplement, I'll call it. And that's an area that I'm looking at right now and have found a great company that has put their trust in me to help them from a marketing, from a tech perspective. So I've been giving all my time to them, not asked for anything to help them along as these three owners are looking to grow their business. So that's kind of that giving back and helping them without any expectation. I'm not looking for agreements for them or anything, just the opportunity to help them. And if it grows into another opportunity for me, then great. And if it doesn't, I wish them the best and move on. But that's an area that I would like to see grow a little bit, and help these guys, find a way to continue to grow their business and be successful.
Don't be afraid to share in the chat if there's any way that as a group we can help. What city and state are you in again, Jim?
I am in the suburbs of Chicago, like Anthony. He's probably about 45 minutes from me. I'm in the Mount Prospect area, so I'm just a little bit north of O'Hare Airport, in the burbs of Chicago.
I would love to see the both of you connect. You've got a young man entering, his next phase. And Jim, you've got a lot of great relevant experience and you guys are so close. It'd be awesome for you guys to connect, and that would be a good way for you to help one another. So maybe you can share your information inside the chat while we move our way down the list. You see what we're doing here, everybody, is that, this community, we're learning a little bit more about one another and ways that we can help or be a resource or whatever that looks like. If nothing else, it forces us to define what our needs are right now, right in front of everybody. So I know Sam's needs right now are to get some help with the chickens, so we're going to leave her alone. Taylor, how about how can we help you?
Hi,
Hi.
thanks for asking. Well, first of all, sometimes I struggle to identify the areas that I need help, but I know I always need a lot of help. So I appreciate you forcing us to think about this. I really would like to get rid of my older inventory for my
Yep.
business. And I noticed that, I noticed this early on in our business last year, that whenever we sell in person, we move things very quickly. So we just worked a show last weekend and it was amazing and wonderful. I didn't get rid of everything, but that wasn't my goal. I just wanted to make a dent, which we definitely exceeded my expectations for that. So that's great. But online, like I've run sales, and what's funny to me is that people mostly only buy full priced items from me. But it will be at random times. So it's hard for me to get rid of sale items, old styles, etc., because I don't know why. So if you have thoughts on how I can push my inventory online, I know that we can do more. We can always be doing more, like in the social media realm and stuff. But how do I do that with a specific focus on getting rid of my old stuff?
So here's what I'm going to offer. I'm going to offer up Rod to have a one-on-one call with you specifically on old inventory, sale versus non-sale, etc. What I'd like for you to do now is put your website in the chat. Okay, because people can go online and buy your stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So the easy answer for you next time is, hey, I sell a product. I want everybody to buy something. Okay. Now you sell something that's rather specific, which is, a carry purse, a firearm carry purse and or accessories like knives and flashlights, et cetera, high end, incredible quality, right? So boutique-ish. Your first question should always be, I need help selling more. So anybody in the community here, if that's something you think you need, their purses. So I'm not sure, guys, you'll want them for yourselves, but they might make some great gifts. Or just repush something that Taylor's put on Instagram. I'll vouch for that in person. Her product is absolutely beautiful. The craftsmanship, the quality of the leather, etc. the thought that's gone into that. If you don't have one of her bags, or you haven't bought one for the female in your life, you should, because it's great. So, Taylor, that's one way we can help you, is to help push out what you're doing. I'd venture to guess that because of the quality of your items, they don't sell as well when they're on sale, because they're probably wondering, why is it on sale? They're great items. So you might want to consider being a little bit more patient with your older inventory, knowing that it will sell because of the quality of craftsmanship. That's my quick thought. But I think Rod could offer some personal advice on a phone call specific to this, nothing else. Fair? Okay.
Yes.
All
Thank
right.
you.
You're welcome. Thank you for sharing. Wayne, how can we help you?
What's happening, guys? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you. It's a little muffled, but we can hear you.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I need a lot of help all the time. But anyways, my name is Wayne. I'm in Southern California, up in the high desert. I currently have a pool cleaning business that I am slowly trying to make an edit and kind of, I guess, gravitate towards. I'm not really even sure what I want. That's the other thing. That's one of my things I need help with, is like my final business goal is just kind of a little bit of everywhere. So it's funny you said that story today about helping with the trees, because I literally just thought about starting a new business. So I did start another business of tree service, removing trees. And it all started with pool service, of seeing everybody's trees going into the pools. So I was like, hey, let's start removing some of these trees. So I started removing them for customers, and now I'm like, well, hey, let's get paid doing it. But a problem I have, really, the thing that I think I need the most help with is like channeling what I want to do, because I get like these ideas, and I'm like, oh yeah, I want to start a business trimming trees. So then I start telling everybody, hey, I got this new tree trimming business, and then I want to clean pools, or oh hey, I want to we also do a little bit of real estate. We dabble in that. And so it's like, oh, I want to sell this house, or now I got this other customer. She's, I clean her pool. She wants to sell her house. Well, I'm thinking of ways to get her on the same page. Like, I kind of want to buy it and fix it and flip it. But I'm thinking to myself, like, when am I going to have time to do all this stuff? So the help that I need the most with is staying focused. I'm like always jumping from one thing to another. Some of them work, some of them don't. But my main goal is my family, is making sure I can provide for them, and making sure I'm there and have the time for them. So that's like another one of my problems. It's like, oh no, should I go work, or should I go practice baseball with my kid? Well, I'm like, well, I'm gonna go practice baseball. I'm not gonna worry about making that $100 today. But then later in the night, I'm like, man, I could have done that, and I could have done this, and I could have did that. And I'm kind of scatterbrained all the time. So I think that's my biggest help that I need.
Okay. Thanks for sharing, by the way. And if you didn't hear Wayne, he has a pool cleaning business, very successful, to the point where we've talked on a number of occasions where he's trying to reduce his customers instead of increase them. He also has a sugar mama. Just kidding, Wayne. He's got a beautiful wife that contributes to the family. So Wayne, we'll do the same for you that we're doing for Anthony, and that is to help keep you narrowed and focused. So between Rod and I, we'll reach out and kind of touch base with where you're at. I do know that a lot of things that you touch turn to gold, or at least opportunity. And it's one of the things I love about you, is that you have that that intuition to turn something into something else. You should also consider collaborating with Anthony. He's talking about dabbling in some real estate and flipping some homes, and he's heading to Utah to meet with Scott, with the Red Suit Realtor, in the next week. So maybe you guys might want to exchange contact. Wayne, if you want to put in the chat your number, or Anthony, and you guys can swipe it off there. You guys it might be worth you guys discuss. Clearly you have the same issue, trying to stay focused. So
Yeah.
definitely. Okay. All right. So look, we've gone through everybody on the call. The fact of the matter is everybody could use some help. And alternatively, everybody on this call is willing to help. So we're already practicing what we're talking about. We're already offering, we're already explaining what we need. And this is how we grow not only as a community, but also as business leaders. So I want to encourage everybody to continue this conversation on. It feels good to hear what people need. And it feels good to listen to what people need. And I think that we have to remember that. I was teaching my kids the line, it's more important to be interested in what somebody has to say instead of trying to be more interesting to them, right? And that's a David Meltzer line. In other words, ask people questions and listen to what they have to say instead of trying to brag about how great you are or whatever it is the point you're trying to make, right? So it's more important to be interested than interesting. And my point tonight was it was awesome to hear what people needed, because I think as a nature, we want to help others. So Rod, do you want to give some closing thoughts? Because I'm going to start wrapping up. Unless people have more things that they need help with, you can raise your hand. We'll go down that road. But Rod, why don't you kind of close out that portion?
Yeah, thank you everyone for sharing first and foremost. And it's nice to hear when everyone here is moving forward, and that's always the best thing to hear. No one's really in a downer or anything else. It sounds like we all have more than we need, right? It's how do we juggle all those things? And for all of you who have families, younger families, children, college age children, I get it. And I will tell you this, words of advice: you will never regret spending more time with your family, ever. You will never regret that. That is an investment that you're making that will far outproduce results of any business that you might lose because you're with your family. So that's the first and foremost thing to wrap up. And the second thing I'm going to say, because there was kind of a common theme here, we say entrepreneurship is hard, but honestly, life is hard. Life is hard. And so how do we get through that? We get through that with our tribe, with our family, with our friends. And that just requires that we be vulnerable and we be authentic and put ourselves out there, and then offer what advice or tips we can. And the one tip I'm going to offer for the people who are needing more help focusing is do some larger time blocks. Give yourself some space and say, I'm going to take 3 hours. I'm not going to do anything else except this one thing that has been gnawing out on me. And don't give it just an hour or 15 minutes. Put 4 hard hours into it. And I saw this when I was teaching public high school. Kids would just get warmed up, just get their head in a groove, and the bell would ring. Block classes were so much more successful, where they'd have 2-hour or 3-hour blocks. So give yourself what your mind really needs. And that's a chance to settle in and really think some of those problems through on your own and find your way through it. So just even if you're saying, okay, well, I've got extra time this day, block it out for one of those things that is a loose end, so that loose end isn't dangling in front of you all the time. So that's my piece of advice for most people on this call tonight. And stick with family. You'll never go wrong.
Awesome. Thanks, Rod. I also want to thank everybody for sharing and having some thoughts. Anthony, go ahead. You got your hand up.
Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt.
No.
I'll wait.
Well, what I was going to say is that because we have a community, Riley's on screen tonight. I've hired Riley through one of my clients to do some work. And what's happened, 2 things happened out of that. One is I got help with something I needed from somebody that I trusted in our community. And the second thing is she's making revenue from a project, right? So hopefully that's enhancing her personal business while doing something for me. And that is our community working together. And it's also why I think it's important, if appropriate, that one another, people in this group connect with one another, and that we have these types of nights where we can share what we do. And maybe there's some collaborative efforts there so that we all can go a little bit further. So Riley, thank you for doing an awesome job for me and being who you are and helping me with a client to help me be successful. So Anthony, go ahead.
I just wanted to say, me and Jim spoke this weekend about, my business currently is booked out until May 18th, all day, every day, except for Saturday, Sunday until May 18th. It's crazy busy here. And I was telling Jim, I want to get into new ventures. I want to do new things, but I just don't have the time. And Jim told me, well, hey, find an apprentice, find someone that can, take some of the workload off of them. And it's crazy because when you go looking for something, you find it. And just last night at the gym, I had some kids that I've talked to a couple times, and one of them came up to me and he actually texted me today after learning more about my business and said, hey, can we do a ride along together? So May 1st, I'm going to bring him with, and he's going to kind of see how things go. And maybe I can teach him a little bit and take him under my wing. And it's amazing really what that, what the law of attraction can do for you. And I thank you, Jim, for that. And I thank you, Rod, as well.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate that. Well, we manifest what we need, and it's through talking about and looking for, and then all of a sudden you realize it's right in front of you, right? You've probably seen these guys at the gym a dozen times. All of a sudden you've identified what your need is through conversations, through the coaching, through an outside perspective. And that's the real value. And I know we've said this a lot. We can only be as helpful as the questions that you ask us, because the rest is a little bit of filler. We want to give you and teach you some soft skills, but if you're not asking for help and if you don't have a question, then, there's not much we can do. So anyways, thank you for that, Anthony. All right. I'm going to wrap it up from there. Heidi, go ahead. Sorry.
I would like to offer to everyone on this call to reach out on me, a coaching session, a coaching call to help you with any of your goals, where we can sit down and make goals, and we get some pretty good results, especially when things get confusing and we're overwhelmed. I'm pretty good at getting diced through that and moving away some of that confusion and relating to some of these feelings and needs and getting things done. So that's on me. So reach out.
Awesome.
Thanks, Heidi.
Yeah.
I was going to suggest that maybe Jim could use, some center focus. So maybe you guys should connect on how to get him back there mentally so that he's got the physical strength to kind of dial in stuff. So, all right. Hey, thank you, everybody. I thought it was a great call because of everybody's input. Nothing to do with what I said, but your input makes it different and better. So come next week, another great call. Y'all know how to get a hold of us if you need anything in between. Matter of fact, Heidi, I'd love to catch up with you in the next week, just to hear about where you're doing, what you're transitioning. It's been a while since we spoke. So if you think about it, maybe shoot me a text. Okay. All right, cool. Talk to everybody soon.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.